Every voyage has a destination, and for the entrepreneur, is not just about reaching the shores of profit and success. It's now time to scale your venture, expand reach, and create a lasting legacy. We talked to Agnello Rajesh and explored strategies for sustainable growth, staying innovative, and adapting to the ever shifting tides of the market. But beyond financial rewards, we'll also consider the ethical compass that guides your journey, emphasizing social responsibility and the positive impact your business can create on the world. What are some effective strategies for scaling a business while maintaining a strong company culture and employee engagement?
Well, any business can grow when the employees are well engaged with the organization. We cultivated a concept called partners in progress. Every employee, every team member can become a partner in progress. Incentivizing employees is very critically important. So you might have appreciation for the employee, awards, rewards, recognition. All of that is great, but at the end of the day, the employee also wants to have additional revenues that he can take home and celebrate with his family. A happy employee is the first indicator of a growing company and a growth mindset as well. So you really need to keep employees engaged. You need to keep them trained. You need to keep them happy. You need to allow them for proper regular celebrations, awards, recognition. But most important is additional revenue on a incremental basis. Also, it can be profits in terms of a bonus or a special incentive when a particular specific milestone or a target is reached. Now, you need to also build a culture of compatibility amongst the people for the common goal of the organization. In Hindi, there is a saying, Ganga uppar se behti hai, right? So you as an entrepreneur and leader of the organization, you should lead from the front and you should lead from the top, because what you understand needs to percolate down to the last man in the team. So all this structure put together is critically important for the growth of a company, and building a culture only can make this achieve. So bonding with each other, building relationships amongst subordinates, building relationships amongst teams, giving clarity of the goals, giving clear instructions of what is expected of each person, what is expected of each team, what is expected of each department, and absolute smooth flow of communication amongst the entire organization is the key for the growth of that particular organization. The culture of the organization should be developed in such a way like every employee should feel he owns the company. When it means he owns the company, that is not only connected only to the authority that he wields, but also the responsibility that he wants to shoulder. Like for example, I have read this in a book where an employee of Toyota car company saw a Toyota car and the headlight was dangling down. He went there, fixed it up, and then went home. Now that shows your commitment to the common philosophy of the organization and keeping the name and the brand value of the organization lifted up at all times. Your connection, like how as countrymen, the affection that we have for our country, if we have the same or our family, the same kind of affection needs to be there for the organization. Now that needs to be built as a culture. You cannot teach this to them in a classroom, or a trainer can come and train them on that psychology. That thing needs to come from within. And how can that start? Simple. The entrepreneur, the leader of the organization, should intertwine himself and his life with the well-being of the teams which are available in the organization. The people in the organization should feel that our leader is a commander who fights in the front of the battlefield. It is not that he sits in the air-conditioned cabin and allows the foot soldiers to go ahead. He leads from the front and he is there in the battlefield at all times. Now, this kind of conviction happens over real life situations as the business progresses, as the work goes on, as the customers are being handled. A commitment given by an employee is maintained by the owner of the organization, and a commitment made by the organization or the entrepreneur becomes a goalpost for the entire set of people in that particular organization. This kind of culture, if you built it, and all great companies have this kind of culture, whether it is Tata's, whether it is Birla's, whether it is the Google of the world, the Facebook of the world, the GE Motors of the world, everywhere these organizations have become robust because each person in this company, each person in this team and organization consider that they own the company. They face and they front the company, and it is not the authority that they have, but the responsibility that they willingly shoulder, which ultimately takes that organization on the path of progress, growth, glory and prosperity. So I think it's in the center of the action, which is the manpower. So we used to talk in terms of horsepower, but today these are the times of manpower. In spite of technology taking center stage, because to run the technology also you need the right manpower with you. It's the real people behind everything that's happening in the organization that matters, and you need to put a culture around them of bonding, belongingness, and taking the initiatives for every aspect of the organization's growth journey. This kind of culture is what I think every entrepreneur should build.
How can entrepreneur balance the pursuit of profit with ethical consideration and social responsibility?
So I think this is the era of social responsibility, and this is the era of social entrepreneurship. So what is social entrepreneurship? Like when India got freedom, when the country got freedom in 1947, those years the entrepreneurs with the might were always right. Jiski lathi usi ki bhais. After that came the intelligent India, when we saw the IT revolution. In fact, one of our prime ministers said that IT is not only information technology, but IT is India's today, IT is India's tomorrow, and IT is Indian territory. And this was proven to the world. So that was nothing,
Mr. Bihari.
That was Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee. And we proved it to the world that Indians became the most valuable resource for all the information technology development of the world. In fact, we became responsible, and we were credited to be the backbone of all the developed nations and all the Fortune 500 companies of the world to have Indian intelligence or Indian mindsets or Indian expertise of information technology supporting their growth. Now that was the era in the early 2000s onwards. Today is the era where entrepreneurship is all about intelligence, absolutely sharp intelligence, but connected to a very warm heart. Today's entrepreneurs are those entrepreneurs who are solving problems of the society, in the society. So they identify the problem and then they create solutions. Now, we have seen that the world has developed businesses to solve the problems of all the rich people of the world. This is the era a social entrepreneur will look at the bottom of the pyramid and try to solve their problems. Social entrepreneurship does not mean no profits. Social entrepreneurship means responsible business, absolutely ethical, and at the same time earning normal profits to do an activity where profit happens over where profits happen over a number of people rather than profit happening per customer. Yeah, so that's what you call as social entrepreneurship. Lots of Indian brains who had gone back in developed countries and settled for many years are now coming back with that realization to India, because here is where they can serve better and they can serve more number of people. So social entrepreneurship is the future of the nation, is the future of India, and entrepreneurs are marching towards in that direction. Social entrepreneurship is business done with a soft and a moist and a warm heart, and that's what we see. And we are also so proud to walk this journey to make this country a great one with the kind of attitude that the entrepreneurs have for creating solutions to problems which are persisting from so many years, and all those problems being solved by innovating thinking and considering the responsibility of how you can build a social enterprise.
How can entrepreneurs use their businesses to address environmental challenges and promote sustainability?
Well, now the world is totally moving towards sustainability. It is the next juncture or the next step of social responsibility. Socially aware companies today are connecting their responsibilities to the environment around us, and we are seeing a huge climate change that's happening due to pollution and people not maintaining norms when development is happening in cities and countries across the world. So today there is a system to calculate the amount of bad footprint that you are creating in the environment, and there are incentives for people who are becoming environmentally responsible. So now the core focus of the whole world, especially the developing and underdeveloped countries, is towards creating sustainable environment. giving respect to the environment, and creating a zero carbon footprint. You get heavily rewarded for that in terms of tax reforms, in terms of getting funding, in terms of better acceptance of your products by the customers and consumers. In fact, companies which are environmentally aware, they are adapting to such measures and communicating about that to the consumers, that yes, we are environmentally conscious and we are environmentally cooperating to do the right things. Like for example, Amazon now wants to do deliveries on electric vehicles, on electric motorcycles. All companies are now proving to the world with evidence that they are socially aware, they are environmentally aware, and they are environmentally a responsible company. So gone are the days where you need to punish people for spoiling the environment. These are the days where companies are getting incentives in the form of customer relationships with your customers. And as a customer, even I feel good to place an order to that company which has proven and established proof that they are maintaining all the norms that are required to safeguard and upkeep the environment around themselves. So I think there is a game change. People are getting very educated about this kind of responsibilities. The country political leaders are playing a great role in promoting that. Bureaucracy is supporting this kind of initiatives, and even corporates and entrepreneurs on their own accord are walking the path of a sustainable and a pollution-free environment for the betterment of the coming generations. So what we are doing today is going to give a better life to our next generations, which are going to see the light of the day. So I think this is now becoming a part of the personality of an organization. It's no more only the personality of the entrepreneur or the personality of a product or service, but it is the personality of how you operate your organization. And there are ways and means to measure this, and there are ways and means to see it happening. So these are changing times, and we have to adapt ourselves to the change of being environmentally responsible. So what does this kind of decisions create an impact on? They create an impact on your cost of operations. But still, we have to invest in those cost of operations to make yourself an environmentally friendly country. The only reason why people used to do shortcuts for making products or operating their businesses by not maintaining the environmental norms was when you provide safety measures, or when you provide more activities related to keeping the environmental safe, your operating cost goes higher. So now there are set-offs in multiple ways for the companies which are implementing this. So people are now adapting it with open arms, and it has also become a advertising and a marketing tool for the product companies, saying that they are an environmentally responsible organization. And this change is very rapidly happening in countries like India.
What advice you have for aspiring entrepreneurs who want to build legacy through their businesses and create a positive impact on the world?
Every developed country has a legacy of the company that we deal with, and this legacy runs on to hundreds of years. One is the way they have nurtured their relationships. Second is the way they have handled their customer base. Third is the way they manage their vendor management system. Fourth, the compliances and the ethical standards that they maintain. Fifth, the governmental norms that they have adhered to without compromising on the government rules, regulations and policies. And of course, today your concern for the environment around you by the nature of you doing that particular business. Any organization, if they apply all these policies to their functioning, automatically makes them a better, a bigger and a more recognizable brand. For you to leave a legacy behind, like the Tatas, the Birlas, the Ambanis, all these people have today become legacy business. This was not started by them. This was started by their forefathers. And why are they a legacy business? Purely because they did not compromise on their policies. They did not use any unethical means or methods. And they have been loyal and truthful to their entire customer base. Anybody dealing with these kind of organizations will always have a feeling that the value that they paid to get the product or service is much more than the amount they paid to those companies. So the value of the product and services they got is much higher than the money that they paid for getting that product or service. Now this kind of feeling will instill a sense of confidence to a customer and a consumer, and generations together become loyal customers to those kind of organization. Every entrepreneur also needs to do that. In the professional services, there are so many organizations in India where chartered accountants and lawyers and company secretaries have legacy business. It was started by their great grandfathers, then grandfather, father, the current gentleman and his coming up generation also following the same customer base and the same business. Now entrepreneurs also have now started doing this, whether it is restaurant chains, whether it is real estate companies, whether there is capital management organizations, all of these are now stockbrokers, all of these have become now legacy organizations. The number of legacy organizations need to increase. Now there is a direct correlation between the number of legacy businesses and the qualification of a country as a developing country or a developed country. The proportion and the percentage in the developed country is much higher compared to a developing country like India. And it is predicted that the next 50 years are going to be the Indian years, and these Indian years are going to be happening by the number of percentage going higher for legacy businesses. When you talk about a legacy business, which means everything about that organization is going right in terms of customer satisfaction, in terms of vendor management, in terms of compliances with the government authorities, in terms of shareholders and stakeholders making plenty of profits because of dealing with the right companies. Now, when all these elements come together, put together, you are actually in reality creating a legacy business. So I think this is what entrepreneurs should focus on. A great brand is built on the quantum of sacrifices that they do. A great brand is built when the entrepreneur forgoes short-term profits for a long-term legacy. A great business is built on how you deal with all the human beings associated with your organization. Again, it goes to the same topic. The government officials, the vendors, the shareholders, and the customers, on how do you deal with them will define the next journey of legacy for the organization. And highest percentage of legacy businesses which are happening today is happening in India. After China, now it has started happening in India. For the quantum of the population that we have, which is the pride of the nation today and which is the strength of the nation today. And the whole world today is looking at India as a land of opportunities. When your trust factor of organization and entrepreneurs grow up, then the developed country businesses want to collaborate and invest into a growing country like India by partnering and collaborating with these kind of legacy entrepreneurs based out of India. So the legacy is a testimony that all filters are clear for that particular entrepreneur or that particular organization. So there are multiple benefits when you want to create a huge brand. Everybody wants to either deal with you or be your customers or partner with you or invest in you. So this happens by creating a big brand, and that's what every entrepreneur should strive for.
Thank you, sir.